Welcome back, everybody, yet again to another game developer interview courtesy of Game Does With Color Expo 2023. I'm your host, the Purple Sharpie, and I happen to have the senior artist of Mojiken Studios here today, Dimas. How are you doing today, Dimas?
Hello, everyone. Really excited to be here and at Game Dev of Color Talks. Really happy to be here. And then, yeah, I hope you guys have a great time with our talks right now.
I believe we'll have a fantastic time. Why don't you tell us a few sentences about your latest project, A Space for the Unbound?
So yeah, Space for the Unbound is an adventure game, magical adventure about two high school sweethearts set at the end of their school days and the end of the world. Explore a crumbling town, help friends face their inner demon, which could be the key to stop reality itself disintegrating. And yeah, you can also pet the cats in this game.
Petting the cats is incredibly important, and while we ponder about that fact, why don't we go ahead and play the game trailer?
And I closed my eyes, feeling lighter and lighter.
So obviously, the pictures that we see inside of that trailer of the gameplay are absolutely mind-blowingly beautiful. A lot of the series is also done inside of the same pixel format. Specifically, every single frame of the game literally looks like it could be a slide inside of a manga or a comic book, you know? Talk to me more about the importance of the pixelation style as it pertains to telling this story.
Okay, so although my official title in the studio is senior artist, but I'm working as director and the art director for this game. So I have this very specific font for pixel art because as obviously I grew up in the 90s where like Super Nintendo era and then PlayStation era, and then when there is like a golden age of pixel arts, and I growing up with that. And also like in studio, mainly it is the thing that we can do. We can do like 3D, can do high uh we can do 3D or like something that realistic graphic and stuff like that. Uh is also we are really excellent at. We have a lot of talented artists, a lot of talented pixel artists at studio. And then I think when I was starting this project at 2015, I also really want to explore pixel art more deeper since I've been really fond of that media for a longest time. And I'm also really impressed how like this pixel art is this kind of have these magical powers that it's weird to see like arranged blocks. When you see these arranged blocks, it's pop up a different image in your head, and it's
Mhm.
like seeing a Lego, like it's made of blocks, but when you see it in full, entirely different things. So I think like we really want to like push the magic of the pixel art by then. And then I also really love anime and manga, and that is why I started making this project, because like in anime or manga there's this kind of activity in Japan named Seiji Junrei, which is an
Mm-hmm.
anime pilgrimage where you compare the anime location with its real life counterparts, and it's really inspires me to do the same. I really want to give like a tribute to hometown where I live for like many years, and then just really want to like breathe a new life to this environment that I've been living with, like God only knows how many years. And then yeah, just like I really want to appreciate the beauty that is I've been surrounded with like so many years with this pixel art media. So yeah, that's why uh we choose pixel art for this game, for this project.
I really feel the love and I really see the passion inside of every single scene inside of the game, especially inside of the first part of the prologue. While the finished product obviously came out back in January and the prologue came out almost 2 years prior to that, I understand that this series was actually in development for 7 or 8 years. So it really does seem like a labor of love, and it definitely shows. I actually want to hearken to some thing that you talked about inside of your last answer, where you stated that as the director, so much of this game relates to you. You want to capture so much of that feel from the inspiration of the manga that you've seen come out of Japan. I have a couple of questions specifically about Atma and Raya inside of this story. How much inspiration from your life did you grab in order to create these character storylines?
Yeah, Atma and Raya is actually in terms of inspiration, there isn't really anything that deep like making these two characters. Initially, I just making like this a two-person that contradict each others, and then one of them telling the truth, one of them telling lies, one of them tell, and sometimes one of them confused, some of them one of them try to tell the truth, but the others not believe. It's like basically I really want to write something like two people with a strange relationship. They cannot figure out if they uh really trust each other, but they also really want to trust each other so much. So that's why I'm kind of trying to make Atma and Raya very contrasting toward each other. Like Atma has this spiky hair and Raya has this like very very, I don't know how to say it, like very like honor student hair maybe. I would like to say about that. Just yeah. Yeah. So that's why I make the design characters like Atma is very it's like very casual, while Raya is kind of like very Atma is very casual and very open, and while Raya is very secretive, and then she hides lots of secrets, and she's kind of good at hiding that, so it reflects on their character design and stuff like that. Yeah, it was from that kind of idea that I make both of them. Yeah.
I want to talk very briefly about some of the universe that the game series is set inside of. It's very obvious that the game calls reference a lot to the 90s, specifically India inside of the 90s. We see a couple of scenes inside of the launch trailer where Atma's actually inside of an arcade about to put up a fight with a series of, it looks like, gang members also there. And in the background of that arcade, we see Future Fighters and Chronos Crisis, which are both puns on well-known arcade games, and one of which I believe is actually a pun on Chrono Trigger, but the other is a pun of Street Fighter. So I want to kind of briefly just talk about how much inspiration you grabbed from the 90s and put inside of puns inside of scenes like that.
Oh yeah, there are actually a lot of it. So uh in an as I said earlier, like I really want to give a tribute to a place we are growing up for many years, but it's also the time that we are growing up with many years. We really want to reminisce on what is happening back then, and then something that is actually already gone. It's like the value of it, like multiply, right? It's like it makes you happy, like being able to recall some good memories from your childhood or from your teenage days, something like that. And then that's why it is the part of it is one of the key foundation of the game, like about reminiscing the old memory. So back in the day, there was when the arcade scene in my town were much more like livelier and much more merrier. There is like Street Fighter, and then there is Time Crisis, and then Dance Dance Revolution and stuff like that. Yeah, people will just be lining up and play, and sometimes some kids just have a turf in their arcade, something like that. Yeah. And also there is like a term abuget in Indonesia. It's like when everyone's try to imitate Ryu Hadoken, but they cannot listen to the sound of the moves very clearly, so they just spell abuget or something like that. That's why arcade was really a big part of our childhood growing up. So yeah, it's like most of us like come to know games, and then being introduced to games, because like back in the days, Indonesia cannot really, I mean, like not Indonesia, but when the SNES era comes up in Indonesia, there aren't really kids have SNES, because like how pricey it was, the cartridge. So the kids were being introduced with the games from through arcades, something like that. And then when PlayStation comes, every kid suddenly have a PlayStation, because I don't know, maybe it's right for me to say, because like in Indonesia, the piracy is really high. So people will buy PlayStation games and then buy the like pirated copies of it. So yeah, I don't know if I can talk about it in here, but yeah, there's one thing that is really fun to remember. Yeah.
I believe obviously that now is a very important time to mention that we do not condone piracy in any way, shape, or form, but it is a very real experience inside of obviously the gaming community, as you know. I'd love to talk a little bit very briefly about some of the additional animation that we see inside of the game, specifically inside of the pixelation, because there are idle moments where you, as the protagonist, as either Atma or Raya, you're actually standing there and your character is idling, and like it literally all just feels so soothing, specifically because I believe of the animation of the grass, or even the automatic animation of the clouds and the sky in the background. How important was some of the frame-by-frame animation in terms of the game? Because obviously pixel art is something that your studio does incredibly well, but you really took it to the next level, as you stated previously. What kind of like pushes you and the rest of the team to move into that genre?
Yeah. It is very important to us to make people very immersed in the game, because like in here we are presenting like a very unknown, I mean, like the background of Space for the Unbound inspired by Indonesia, so it is something that people not really familiar with. So we kind of like have to push the boundary of the visual, that what I mean, like pushing what we can do with pixel art, so people will be interested in the game. That is why. And also it's like my personal goal, like to be able to present the environment that I've been living with many years to the international audience. So yeah, it's just like how anime works, like like when people like see a good anime, and then like, oh, I want to go to Japan, something like that. I'm really want to do that myself sometimes. Maybe it's like a very long road. But I think especially for the Unbound, it's like just like a one step I that I can take to realize that goal. But I don't know how long it takes. But yeah, yeah, I
I
don't really
think
know. Maybe like the next following years, I still have that goal or not. But it is something that we really want to push. Like we really want people to feel like the environments feel alive, and then they feel very home when they play this game, and then they like feel very like relaxed when play this game. But yeah, and also we really want to have a people good time, since the story when and later in the story that when some heavy moments hitting, people are, yeah, the environment will balance them out, something like that. Yeah.
Dimas, I want to thank you so much for your time today and for discussing a space for the Unbound with us.
Thank you so much, Sharpie, and then thank you so much, Game Dev of Color, for having me. And I hope everyone have a great time listening to these talks. And yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you again. And everyone in chat, if you enjoyed this game, we highly recommend grabbing it everywhere on all systems, as well as following the developers specifically on Twitter and Facebook. That's going to do it for this game developer interview, but stay tuned for even more Game Devs of Color Expo 2023.